The difference, the defense, first half, second half? I mean, it seemed like everything just completely changed.
Just tighten up on our screws a little bit. Saw some of the things that was giving us trouble. Got back into the locker room, kind of made those adjustments with Zim and Coach Dre and in the back end. Thought we did a pretty good job of not really giving up any balls plus 20s over our heads. I think we gave up one to DK and a cover two. Other than that, I thought we just played very, very sound. Just believe just in the first half, we was just, I won't say a little bit too hyped. We just needed to calm down just a little bit. And that we did and got it together. I think it was like 0 for 3 and for third down in the second half. Didn't score any points. Held Russell. Contained Russell very well as far as with our rush assignments. So just for the most part, just tighten up a little bit on the screws and started taking away their right hand, made them play with their left.
With Odell having that one game back now, what are you seeing from him?
You can tell he's definitely getting back into the groove. Routes are still there. You can tell the speed is still there, but that timing between him and the quarterback is still coming along. Now going into week 2, we expect the playbook to expand a little bit more. Obviously, we know Jarvis is not in the lineup, so we can definitely expect Odell's role to expand a little bit more than it has been in the past. But we all know what Odell can bring to the table. We know he's a very electrifying player, a tier 1 receiver in his league, and we know he's very dangerous once the ball is in his hands.
Patrick, do you still think you're learning about your teammates, how they communicate, how they react in certain situations? And is that maybe why some of the starts have been a little slower?
No, I believe the communications is there. The filling out process is pretty much over now. We just have to find a way to come in the game a little bit more settled, not playing on the edge, starting off the game on the edge. You want to be as relaxed as possible as you can to help get yourself through downs. I think, with the slow start, last week, obviously with those guys, not our first time, but having a little bit of muddle huddle, moving a little bit of changing the pace on us a little bit, forcing us to communicate. And I believe that's what kind of, threw a wrinkle in there early on in that game. But once we kind of figured out, everybody settled in, everybody knows all the checks, everybody kind of got on one accord. And once we all was on one accord, we started playing better defense.
What stands out to you about Baker Mayfield, and then would you kind of classify him as a guy who takes some risks?
Yeah, Baker is definitely a gunslinger. He believes in his arm. He trusts his arm. He trusts his guys. He's been making some big plays throughout this year. Early on, was week 4 coming up, been making some nice connections down the field with his receivers. Also had a couple bad mistakes that I know he wish he would have had, could have back as well. So it's going to depend on our defensive lineman, getting to him early, making his feet happy a little bit. Obviously, we know the running backs that they have over there in Chubbs and Hunt. So we have to try to make this team one-dimensional as possible. This is probably the most balanced team in the NFL as far as when it comes down to running pass dispersions. It's almost 50-50. So I believe if we're able to stop the run, make these guys predictable on third and second down, we'll have a pretty good opportunity coming out of that series.
When you see a player that can do multiple things like Demetric Felton, how does that change defensive game planning?
It makes it tough for us. When you have a guy that's very versatile, that can do a lot of different things. It makes us be on our P's and Q's that much more. It's not one thing that he can do very well. He can do multiple things very well. So as a defense, we have to make sure that we rely on our responsibilities, rely on our assignments to get us out of downs.
Patrick, why do you think that this style of offense, this sort of Shanahan-Kubiak style of offense has been so successful? It seems like more and more teams are adopting it. Kevin's having success with it. Obviously, Clint is having success with it here. Why do you think that is?
Man, it's a variety of a little bit of everything. You have got a boot game in there, play action, screen game, down the field shots. It's kind of impossible to game plan for. You know what I mean? You just have to make sure, you know, some of the keys they may give us, some of the formations they may give us that they may ran you know, a couple weeks ago, or they run into perfection now. Just try to get a beat on certain formations. But when a team have pretty much everything in their arsenal, it's tough to prepare for them. And not only that, when you have a mobile quarterback as well, it makes it that much more tougher. And the skill set that those guys have over there in Cleveland is, you know, almost unmatched. Having a two-headed running back, a quarterback that can, you know, if he get the running game going, play action going, he can control the game. First-round draft picks all over the place on defense. Offensive line got better. You know, only piece that they're missing is Jarvis. You know, so these guys have the talent, and when you throw that in the mix of a pretty much wide open offensive scheme, you know, it makes it tough to game plan for something like that.
How much does that help you, the familiarity, when you've got guys like Zimmer, Kendricks, guys who've been around this scheme, been around Kevin Stefanski? Does that help you, or can you overthink things sometimes?
It can help us in a sense, but no one really. Obviously, Coach Zim understands what he likes to do. Obviously, Coach Steve knows what Zim likes to do. Been here, you know, for I believe what you said since 2006. 14 seasons. So he's been here a while. You know, he knows some of the players here still. So it's just going to be on us to, you know, rely on our responsibility, rely on our assignments. You know, haven't really got much feedback from EK or Zim on some of the things that that coach does well. You know, obviously just want us to watch film and pick up nuggets and keys as the week goes on. But he haven't really given us anything to look forward to, you know, coming into Sunday, other than the normal game plan, what we've been doing throughout the season so far.
When you talked about the boot game, that seems to be like a lot of teams trying to change that launch point for the quarterback. But does that change what you do as a cornerback? Like, it seems to manipulate the linebackers and make it more difficult than the D-line. But does your job kind of stay the same?
Yeah, my job kind of stays the same, but, you know, once I realize it's a boot, it kind of makes my job easier at the same time, because there's only 2 to 3 routes you can get out of the boot. You know, they're either going to take you deep on a post, run a comeback, or go. So my process of elimination is much simpler or much easier once I realize that it is a boot. But it makes it harder for the linebackers to try to make the D-line chase a little bit, get those guys tired throughout the game, suck up those linebackers to create those holes right behind them, move the safety from one side to open up the backside. You know, so, but for far as the corner, my job is easy, but it can manipulate, you know, the defensive line, the linebackers, and the safeties. But as a corner, we're pretty much rolling with the quarterback, and if the boot is coming to our side, we know it's only 3 routes that we can get.
Patrick, have you seen Bashab Breeland handle just some of the ups and downs here?
Say it one more time.
Have you seen Bashab Breeland just handle some of the ups and downs here, just kind of going through right
like
now?
I always tell, I think he's handling them well. But like I told him, it's a long season. That's why I try to keep the same attitude, you know, every single day. You know, like I told you guys when I first got, I try to stay on cruising altitude. You know, because anything can happen at any given moment in the game, to where it can have you down. You can make a big play, and it can have you too high. You know, so I kind of try to stay right there in the middle, and those kind of some of the things I try to tell him as well. You know, obviously we're out there on the field with him, and just continue to encourage him and just let him know that we got his back. We're out here with him. We know what he brings to the table. Now we just, you know, just trusting yourself, trusting your technique, trusting in your teammates, and just go out there and be you. Play fast, play physical, and play shutdown defense like you have been in the last, you know, 2 or 3 seasons. So just trying to continue to uplift him throughout games, and just let them know that, you know, the guys in these purple jerseys are definitely here with them.
You mentioned being on the being a corner on the boot side. Have you noticed over the past couple of years quarterbacks targeting the backside of the boot?
Yes,
a little bit more.
That's what I mean by when it's a boot. You know, you can manipulate the safety. to try to get him from off one spot, to kind of get him rolling over to the quarterback and try to leave that backside corner by himself to make that backside corner run even further from one side of the field to the opposite side of the field. So that's definitely one of the things that, you know, every year something new is going to come up. Everything's going to be pretty much the same, but they try to find new nuances to manipulate the safety, to force mismatches, to force one-on-one coverages. So that is definitely something that has shown up, you know, over the last couple of years for sure.
Patrick, how is your game different than the last 5 or 6 years of your career? What have you learned about yourself through these first 3 games?
You know, for the most part, you know, everything's pretty much been the same for me. You know, get a couple targets here and there. For me, you know, just want to maintain focus, maintain the that energy level that I need throughout the course of 60 minutes of the game, because, like I say, anything can happen at any given moment, you know, of a game. So I have to make sure that I'm completely dialed in on the task at hand, completely focused on whoever I am in front of, because, you know, like I said, at any given time, the ball could be coming to me. So my whole thought process is every single time I'm out on the field, I'm expecting my guy to get the ball, you know. So just little things like that, making sure that I'm self-aware of my leverage, of my alignments, making sure that I'm doing my part to help this defense be successful. All right, guys, have a great day.